3 o'clock. It's 3 o'clock, and this is a meeting of the Freetown Library Trustees, May 29th, Friday. And I have to read a statement here. Pursuant to the Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Freetown Board of Library Trustees will be conducted by remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public can be found on the Town of Freetown's website, freetownmass.gov. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to view the meeting will be able to view the meeting via live stream on freetownma.gov. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time by technological means. If we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on the town's YouTube channel an audio or a video recording, transcription, or other comprehensive record of the proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. We have no means of live streaming today's meeting, so anybody that's interested will have to view this meeting on the town's YouTube channel sometime in the next day or two. Because once the meeting is over, we have to take that the recording and funnel it through the channels to get it on. With that said, I would like to call today's meeting to order, and I would like the secretary to take the roll call. In addition, any motions that we make will have to also be there has to be a roll call vote also in addition to the regular voice vote. So with that, it's over to our secretary, Beverly, and she can call the attendance.
Okay, I'm going to start, and then if each of you could just identify yourself, please. Beverly Sadik.
Paul Sadik.
Irene Ashley.
Lucille Rosa.
Dorothy Stanley Ballard.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Dorothy is our current library director and has been for a good number of years. And she is now going to retire in the beginning of July. That's why we're here to fill her position. Now, Dorothy is here to observe what the library trustees are doing today. She is not part of the library trustees, so she has no voting authority. The only people that can vote are the library trustees. And we have a quorum, secretary.
Yes, we do.
Okay, so we're all set to go. Now, we have one applicant already here in the waiting room, and if the trustees would like, we could call her in and get started. Now, there's somebody else in there with the name B-E-N.
Who?
Ben?
I don't know.
I wonder if that is Nicole. She may not be at her own computer.
Oh,
I'm going to bring that person in, and Regina just left.
huh.
Let me see who this is, okay? I'll admit this person named Ben. Hello?
Hello,
Who is this?
Nicole.
Okay, can you turn your video on,
Yep.
please? Okay, you are scheduled at 3:15, correct?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Let me
That's
just
all.
change my name.
Yeah, I'm saying, who is Ben?
just using his computer. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we hear you fine.
Okay.
Let's see. All right, you're the only. The other lady was in the waiting room, but she disappeared. So I don't know what the story is with her. Okay, do you guys want to get started early?
Sure.
Okay.
For the record, Paul, could we just go through and identify all of us who's here for Nicole so that she'll know? Because we're
Good.
going to do this for the next applicant also.
Good idea. Okay, Beverly, you can call it.
I'll start. Okay, Beverly Sadik,
Paul Sadik,
Irene Ashley,
Lucille Rosa.
Dorothy Stanley Ballard, current library director.
Okay, and could you state your name for the record?
Nicole DeVignan.
Okay, Nicole. All right, so Nicole, we'll start the process off, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to have you start by telling us what your qualifications are for the position that you applied for, and why you want to be the library director in Freetown. And then each one of the trustees will ask you a question. If we have time, we'll ask you 2 questions. All right. We're going to use the same questions for you as we will for the next individual. Okay. So with that, I'm going to start off with very simple. I got the easy part. What are your qualifications based on your application that you put in, and anything you want to add to that? And why do you think you'll be a good person for the position of library director? It's all yours.
All right. So as I said, I'm Nicole DeVignan. I've been working in libraries for over 8 years now. I started when I was in my undergrad getting my bachelor's in English. Since then, I progressively worked in libraries with more and more responsibility. And since more recently, I've been the senior librarian at the Freetown Public Libraries, where I have done a wide range of responsibilities, including helping the current director do book ordering, programming. I have started doing story time. So I have quite a wide range of experiences over the last few years. I want to be the Freetown library director because I think that I can make a big difference. I think libraries can, especially right now, it's going to be a very changing dynamic. And I think I have a really good experience with technology, which is going to be something that we're going to have to rely heavily on without being able to have in-person programming for at least probably 6 more months or more. And I think that I am ambitious and I'm a go-getter, and I would love to get the library out into the community more. I would love to work closely with other town departments to sponsor big events and kind of get our name out there. I think a big problem with libraries is that people are not aware of everything that we can offer them. So I think, you know, getting into the schools more, working with the COA and any other town department to kind of push our agenda and opportunities for everyone.
Thank you. We'll start off with the Irene, and then we'll go to Lucille Rosa, and then to Beverly.
Okay.
Go ahead, Irene.
how would you handle work of patron that came in with a bad attitude and started to give you a hard time? How would you handle this?
So I think it's important to start by trying to listen and understand what their issue or problem could be first. I think that understanding can help them kind of get what they want in a way that isn't, you know, adding to it. And I think if it continues, you have to learn how to kind of take it down, take it back, make sure that they're understanding, because I think too, you don't want them to be disturbing other patrons that are in the library. So I think if you can try to understand where they're coming from first is important to kind of get to a solution that makes everyone happy. Obviously, if things would get out of hand, I wouldn't be afraid to, you know, involve the police or somebody if it was, you know, too much that I felt that there was a safety issue for me or my other staff or my patrons.
Thank you.
Okay, Nicole, how you doing today?
Not too bad. I would have preferred to have an in-person interview, but this is just as good.
Okay. You've given us a good idea about what strengths you bring to the position. What would you see as your weaknesses?
I think a big weakness is that I want to do everything myself, and that I can be a bit of an overachiever. So I think for me, it's important to remember that to delegate, and don't be afraid to ask for help sometimes. I'm always hesitant to, but I've learned over the years that there's always people around that want to help you, and you just have to not be afraid to ask for it. And I think that I have been working on that weakness over time, and I think that I'll continue to improve that weakness.
Thank you.
Hi, Nicole.
Hello.
Okay, based on the job description, which of the duties do you feel most comfortable with, and which do you feel you may need some time to learn?
I feel confident in most of the library-based qualifications, just because I've worked closely with previous directors to do a lot of these things. I think the thing I'd probably need help the most with in the beginning is kind of understanding how the budgeting works with the town, because I've not had to deal with that personally before. In my previous libraries, we had our own budgets that was not reliant on the town. But I think having a board that has been, around in the town for a while, that they kind of have an idea, and that, you're not alone with that. The trustees are a big part of helping you kind of balance those things with the town. But I think that I'm a quick learner, so I think I'd be able to get a good handle on it.
Thank you.
Irene?
Can you go to Lucia, please? I'm thinking.
Okay. Lucille, you're on the hot seat now.
On the hot seat. Ooh. Okay. Do you intend to complete your library degree?
So right now I am working on the certification that's just required for the directors in the population under 10,000. Eventually I would love to finish my master's, but for financial reasons, I'm just not currently able to.
Okay.
I'm hoping that as I am able to save money in the next few years, I'm hoping to eventually start going back. But school's expensive. So it's
I remember.
it's definitely a goal of mine. And that's why I had, like I said, I have been working. I've completed one of the basic library techniques class, and I will hopefully be finished with those in a year and a half. And then after that, if I am a little bit more financially stable, I hope to at least take one class at a time until I can complete my master's as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Who wants to go next?
I can
Don't
go
you get
next.
to ask any questions, Paul?
I will in a
Okay.
second. Go ahead, Beverly.
Okay, you did touch on this before, Nicole, but
Yep.
just have a little bit more. How would you go about marketing the library and advocating it in the community and the school district?
Yeah, so I think a big thing, and I've been doing some research on this, is library Instagrams, because a big new population in libraries is 20 to 30-year-olds. And I don't think that currently that a lot of libraries market to them. So I think doing that for that population is important. And I also have in previous reached out to schools, I think, especially getting in with kindergarten classes when a lot of kids will first get their library cards, and teaching the families and the kindergartners about the library then is a good way to kind of get them thinking about the library as a, a place that can support them. And I think a big thing too is outreach, not even necessarily marketing, but going out myself and talking to groups of people, at the COA or at like another town event. Obviously the summer, unfortunately, a lot of them were canceled, so I wouldn't be able to do it this year. So I think the marketing will look a little bit, and outreach will look a little bit different in the future. But again, once we're past this unique situation, I would love to be like out there, at least a few times a month, trying to tell people exactly what we are, what we represent, what we can offer them.
Thank you.
All right, Irene.
Okay. Nicole, what would happen if you came up with a fantastic idea that you wanted to issue and you would talk to people and they said, yes, it sounds good. And then you came to the Board of Trustees and you presented it to them and they said, no, we don't want you to do that. And they absolutely refused. How would you handle it?
I'm sure I'd be disappointed, but I think it's important to, before I even present, to research what other places have done that are similar in size to support my argument. And, if it's something like one part of it that they don't agree with, I would probably go back and try to rethink it and maybe present it in a different way that maybe they would agree with more. But obviously any final decision is up to them. If they really don't want me to do it, I wouldn't. But I think that if it's something I'm like super passionate about and I really think would make a difference, I would try my best to restructure it in a way that the trustees would be on board with and understand.
Thank you.
Okay, now it's my turn. Now, I know that you guys use social media a lot.
Yep.
The different libraries do. And how would you get information out to individuals, especially senior individuals that may not be as good with social media or don't even use social media? How would you address and get information out to those people?
Yeah, I think, again, it comes back to doing like outreach. Like if I know that a certain time of month or there's a certain event that a lot of seniors go to at the COA or something, I might talk to the director there to see if I can get 10 minutes of their time to talk to them about it. I've also worked in previous libraries where we sent out paper newsletters, which is a little bit old school, but it's a way to reach people that aren't on the internet. And that way, if you send it to every mailbox in town, you know that a good amount of the population is going to get it. And I think, especially for the older population, that's something, print material, something that they're really comfortable with. And I think that they would be responsive to that as well. And it's worked very well in my previous library. Like people that had never come into the library before would come in after they got the mailing because they were like, oh, I saw this thing and this is really interesting and I would love to learn more about this. So I think a mix between print marketing and outreach is the best way to reach that sort of demographic.
Okay. I have another question.
Yeah.
The library director is a supervisor,
Mm-hmm.
right? Runs the day-to-day operations at the library. How would you handle an issue where you may have a problem employee at some point?
That's always a tough thing. I think it's important to have open conversations about these sort of things. I think that a good first step is talking directly to the staff member. Usually a lot of the problems come from some sort of miscommunication or, some sort of, thing that they're just not sure of. And I think it's important to just kind of talk to them first about it. I think if it also depends if it's I know like in Freetown they have the union, so you have to be like aware of following the path to, if you had to do something like write somebody up, you have to make sure you follow the union guidelines for that. Obviously, that would be like the worst case scenario. I would hope to be able to settle stuff in-house first. And then I would also make sure that you guys, the board, would be aware of what is happening. Because I know at the end of the day, we also answer to you. Sorry. Sorry, lost my train of thought.
See that? The cat messed you up.
I knew that was going to happen too. I was
That's
trying to
okay.
distract her. So yeah, I think open communication is just really important when dealing with your staff and making sure that you guys understand where you're both coming from. Like I said, I think miscommunication can be a big factor in that stuff, and you have to just make sure that you know where everyone stands.
Okay. Somebody asked a question about the certification.
Yep.
Whoever gets this position is going to have that certification, and
Yes.
the personnel board or human resources may put a time limit on contingent upon receiving the job. I don't know what human resources will do, but I would assume that you'll be able to get that done if you're the selectee.
Yes.
Okay.
So I know on the MBLC side, you get 5 years to do it, and they offer each class because there's 4 classes and they offer 2 a year. So you would need at least 2 years to.
Yeah. I'm sure whatever human resources puts in place will be a fair and a
Feasible,
easily attainable
yeah.
mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we've gone through 2 questions each. Does anybody, do you want to ask us any questions, Nicole?
Yeah. Does anybody else have any follow-up questions or no? So I guess my only question would be, do any of you personally have anything that you wish that the library was doing, or that you wish things that they would provide at least, or that you think they're missing any sort of major demographic that you think that is important for them to reach? Not to put pressure on you guys.
In 2001, I tried to get the ball rolling for a new library building, and you do sound like you would get behind that and take positive action. It kind of stalled. It's not anything Dorothy did or anything like that. I don't want to make it sound like it's the director's fault, but I just want to put that out there that I think the town desperately needs a new library, and hopefully that would be one thing that we could maybe get going again.
Okay. All right. Does anybody, Nicole, you got nothing else?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think I have a good idea of what the job entails. So.
Well, you have been doing it you have been working for the town for a while in the library, so I'm sure you do understand.
Yes, and I'm anxious to get back to work for sure.
Okay. I thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much for your time today, and I hope everyone's healthy and happy. Have a great one. Bye now.
Can't wait to get back into the libraries. All right.
Bye now.
Bye-bye. Okay. So we get time to fill out a scoring sheet. The only thing is I don't see the other person, and she was in here before. I'm hoping that her application and the telephone number on her application is accurate so I can call her.
Yeah, I see it. She's in Boston.
Yeah, but she was in here already.
Yeah.
Right, but she wasn't scheduled until 3:45,
Yeah.
so she may not.
Yeah, I just want to make sure. Well, you know what? Let's fill out the app, do our work here on this last interview. And then if she doesn't show up in the waiting room, I'm going to give her a telephone call, okay? Because I know she was here before, and that gives me, That means she intended to attend. All right. So
I'd
I'm just
like
going
to
to.
I'd like to apologize to everybody for my phone ringing.
You woke us all up.
That was my brother checking in.
All
Oh,
right.
I wondered who was doing that.
That was me, my brother.
God bless them.
Both phones too. If you don't answer one, he calls the other one, you know.
That's funny. Uh,
Has everybody had a chance to rate their
Yes.
sheets? Okay.
Uh-huh.
Who was that? That was Lucille.
Yep.
You rated 6 items, right?
Yes.
What was your total score?
4.83.
What was the total score?
Oh, the total score?
Yeah.
29.
Okay. Irene?
Total score was 26.
Okay. Beverly, are you done?
Yep,
What was your
20.
total score?
28.
Okay. I'm just going to run this through this. I want to make sure we got these right. Mine was 27. For those that are interested. So 28 divided by 6. Make sure. 4.67. Irene had 26. So that's 26 divided by 6, 4.34. And Lucille had 29. 4.83.
Yep.
And mine was 4.5. So let me add all this stuff up. So if we take the total divided by 6 times 4 is 24, it comes out to 4.58. That's only part of the process, by the way. We're going to have to, we'll discuss this after. Now, she's not in here yet.
That's odd.
Well, I'm going to call her. I'm going to call her. So let me, I'm going to take off my headset and I'm going to call her.
Okay.
I saw you waiting. So, I mean, if you want to come in now, because it's not now. Okay, I'll let you this. Let's see you later. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello.
Hello?
Okay. She had come in and she didn't see anybody here. That's because she was in the waiting room. And so she is going to come in now. And
Okay.
I told her that we'd probably start as soon as she came in. Now, make sure you sign your scoring sheet and put the date so we can have that. We have to get that to Ally.
Now, is everybody going to fax their own to Ally? I mean, however, or are they going to send it to me?
I don't have a fax machine. I can take a picture of it and send you the picture.
However, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's the only way I can do it.
Beverly, I can just send it. I mean, whatever you want. I can send it directly to Ally. I can scan it and send it to Ally. It's up to
Okay,
you.
so Paul, you're going to send yours to Ally?
Yeah, if that's so. Is that what you want me to do?
I don't care. Just so
Okay.
that I know, so that I won't be,
You know what? Why don't I just I'll scan it and send it to you, and then you can send it as a package. How's that?
okay.
Okay.
Lily, I'll get mine to you. I'm not faxing, but I'll run it up to your house. It's not a big deal.
Okay. You know, Irene, when do you think you would get it here?
I can do it this afternoon if you'd like.
Okay, because I'm going to be leaving for Maine on like late tomorrow night. So,
I will get it to you tonight.
okay.
Sorry.
Hey, Irene,
Yes,
if you're going out, here's your chance to stop for ice cream.
my freezer. Full of ice.
Right around the corner.
Yeah, I know.
I just didn't want you to come here if I was going to be gone already, so.
I'll get it to you soon, tonight.
Okay, Regina's here. Let me see if I can figure out how to let her in. I'm going to let her in. Okay.
I have a question for Beverly.
Yep.
When will you get the packet into Ally? Seeing you're going away.
Well, if I get them all today, I can get them to Ally either tonight or tomorrow morning.
Hi, Regina.
Hello.
How
Hi.
are you? How you doing?
Very well.
Okay. So listen, we're going to, I don't know what position the picture is, but there's a lady in a purple, well, there's a couple of purple shirts, the darker purple shirt. She's the secretary, Beverly, and she's going to go around and we're going to all introduce ourselves, but she's going to start it off.
Hi, Regina. My name is Beverly Sadik.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
I'm Paul Sadik, but she's married to my brother. So she's not my sister. She's not my wife.
Hi, Regina. I'm Irene Ashley.
Hello.
Hi, my name is Lucille Rosa, and I'm a trustee also.
Hi, Regina. I'm Dorothy Stanley Ballard. I'm the exiting library director.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have you tell us about yourself, what your background is, why you feel you would be a good library director for the town of Freetown. Okay, tell us about your schooling and so forth, your experience in library, and then once you do that, we're going to go around to the trustees, who will ask you 2 questions. Now, you met the trustees. I'm one of the trustees also. So, and Dorothy will not be asking any questions. Okay, she's here to observe. All right, so it's all yours, Regina. Oh, by the way, how do you pronounce your last name?
Casalina.
Okay, thank you. I hope I can remember that. It's all yours.
So, well, my name is Casalina. I have a PhD in history and world history from Northeastern University. I graduated in 2018. So my concentrations were world history, Russian and Eastern European history. And since graduating, I've been working as a lecturer at Northeastern. I worked at Boston Architectural College, and then I'm still, well, my contract ended.
Excuse me, do you think you could speak a little louder, please?
Yes, I know. Sorry. So I graduated in 2018, and since then I've been a lecturer at Northeastern University, at Boston Architectural College, and up until now at Bates College in Lewiston, Maine. I actually just moved back to Boston. So in addition, so my experience with working in libraries are both kind of doing research of my own. So I've done research both extensive here in the United States at the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum. Dissertation was on the Holocaust in the Soviet Union, and then also in Russia and in Ukraine. And then I've also at various times while working as an undergrad and also during my graduate study, I worked in archives and libraries. So I've done a year as a research, as a archives assistant at the Massachusetts State Archives. There I was working basically, I was greeting patrons, registering them, getting them acquainted with the reading room, with the collections, the shelf list that we had. And then I would also basically questions and inform them on best use of archival materials. And I would also answer questions and in writing as well. I also worked as an undergrad, as a work study at, at Northeastern University at the Snow Library, and then also at the archives at Northeastern University. And then most recently, the past 2 summers, I've been working at Widener Library at Harvard, basically discharging materials, answering questions, and also working in the stacks. So I have kind of experience both as a researcher, working in the library myself, and also from behind the scenes as well.
Okay, can you elaborate on your, since you've worked in different libraries, do you deal directly with clients off the street, normal people that come in, or are they all students?
So at the Massachusetts State Archives, it was open to the public, so we had anybody come in. So from researchers and professors to genealogists. So I actually worked a lot with genealogists, tracing their family history using the archival collections. Snell Library was also open to the public. And a part of my responsibilities there was actually security. So we had a list of individuals that were not allowed into the library. So part of it was making sure that nobody that had previous problems in library, that they weren't allowed in, and also making sure that, again, everybody that didn't have any, prior problems were able to gain access. Harvard is more difficult, or that one is more for students and faculty as opposed to.
Okay, then we'll start off with who did we? Oh, Irene started the last time.
Okay. Gina, suppose you were there and you had this kind of patron come in, and all of a sudden she saw something she didn't like and she started to get upset and irritated, and she was making a big commotion. How would you handle it so that it doesn't get really out of hand?
It would depend on what the issue was, but I tried to talk her down and try to explain why the policy is in place, if this particular policy that the patient is having difficulty with, and just basically try to explain as best as possible why this is in place, why it is necessary, and to try to help her both understand the policy and try to answer the question that she might be having. Basically remain patient and do the best that I can to ease the situation.
Thank you.
Lucille?
Okay, I just needed the cue. Okay, Regina. You've told us a little bit about your background. I would like you to speak about what you think would be your biggest weaknesses in regards to this position.
In the past, so I'm at Sale now as a lecturer. So I've worked with a large variety of students. So again, first generation to foreign students. But one of the things that I've still sometimes have to struggle with is at times a little confidence. So that's something that I'm still working on. But for me, that just means that any question that arises in class is something that I don't necessarily know off the top of my head. The best that I can to try to find the answer, guide the students to the right answer, and also when it comes to preparing for lectures, it means that at times I over-prepare, so spend more time than is necessary to make sure that I know the material, as well as I can possibly deliver it to the class. And so that's something that I still have to continue to work on, but it is definitely, over the years, I've been improving.
Okay, thank you.
Bev?
Hi, Regina. Based on the job description, which of the duties do you feel most comfortable with, and which do you feel may take some time to learn?
So in terms of dealing with the public, answering questions, all of that I feel very confident in, and it's something that I've been doing for a long time. So also guiding, if it's students coming in or older patrons, towards library materials and finding answers to their questions. That's something I've also feel comfortable with. It's something that I've been doing. So this year I've been working with students on their senior thesis. So in this case, I'm also helping them identify archival collections or library collections databases, places where they can go to answer the. That's something I feel very comfortable with. In terms of basic library duties as well, this is something that I've been doing. So discharging and checking out material to patrons also won't be won't be a problem. It might take a little bit of time to get used to the actual, to specific the library system that you use, since my experience has been with Alma and Aleph. But I'm a quick learner, so I think that I will be able to pick it up fairly quickly. But it is not one that I've used in the past.
Thank you.
Okay, Irene.
Okay. Regina, all of a sudden you decided, you came upon this really great program that you became very enthusiastic, and you talked to some of the people about it, and they encouraged you to do it, and it would be good, it would help the patrons coming into the library. So you worked on it, you presented it, and you took it to the Board of Trustees to get permission to do it, and they refused. What would you do?
In that case, well, I would first, if this is a program that I think would be useful, I would first discuss it with colleagues to make sure that we're kind of all on the same page. And then present it most likely to you as it's still kind of, as it's a work in progress, to get your feedback about whether you think this would be actually useful. And then if it comes to, if that it's not, then alternatives or other ways. But I think it would be useful to get feedback early in the process, kind of at different stages of implementing a new program, to make sure that everybody has input and that it doesn't come to a point where we put a lot of effort into the program and then it turns out that this is not something that the board wanted.
Okay, thank you.
Lucille.
Okay. About 2000, yeah, almost 20 years ago, I introduced the idea of building a new library in town. And since then, nothing much has really happened. Sometimes because of votes that the town took as far as funding went, and sometimes from other obstacles that got in the way. Do you have any ideas about how you as the librarian would help to get that going again?
We need to do kind of more outreach with the community. So try to see what are the needs of the larger community, and try to see if they're basically try to get more people on board with the idea. And then also think about possible, because of budgetary constraints, especially now, also thinking about potential outside sources of, so basically looking for grants that we can possibly apply for. I've had experience with, or at least, experience with writing my own grants in the past. So I have had funding for my research, both from the Holocaust Museum and also from the State Department. So I would potentially think about trying to find some grants for that we could, apply for to get more funds outside of just kind of the town funds. So and then try to talk more with the community about.
Thank you.
Bev.
Okay. Regina, how would you go about marketing for the library and advocating for it in the community and the school district?
So I've seen that you have a Facebook page, so I would continue with that. So trying to using basically media to try to at least get younger patrons to come in. I would also think about possibly partnering with some of the other community organizations in town. So I think you have a community center, the Grange, and the Historical Society. So potentially working with them to try to kind of advertise events that are happening there, but also have them advertise potential events that might be happening at the library, and also try to work together for activities that will be useful for the community. So kind of the children's hour that you have, potentially do something about or different arts and crafts if there are members of the community that want to use or find space to do that. So basically using platforms like Facebook to advertise, but also trying to work with other community organizations as well. Essentially, I know they have two different spaces. Not sure how the space inside looks like. Potentially during the nice weather that we're having, or during the summer, maybe try to use some outdoor space as well, and that will kind of help with the situation we're having right now. But try to kind of get that way people also to come from the community, but in a safe kind of environment. If they're going to do things outside, just for now.
Thank you.
Regina, you mentioned that we have a Facebook page.
Mhm.
How would you get the information out about the library and programs and so forth to those people that don't use social media?
Yes, I understand. That's a good, very good question. So I don't know if we have a bulletin board with something like that, but also potentially do a mailing list, maybe some kind of newsletter that we can send out to people, perhaps once or twice a month or so, or and also again working with other organizations to use their basically work with them about advertising as well. I think
Okay.
basically using kind of print, and also potentially, if not social media, then in emails, we can also send out an email. Perhaps that will be, we can do that more often than an actual kind of physical newsletter.
Well, you got some old people that don't even have computers.
So then, yes. So in that case, I think it would be a combination. So for the older individuals, then I would say a paper kind of mailing list, and then a more frequent email as well that we can send out. So we can kind of target different segments of the community that way.
Okay. I mean, I can say that because I don't use social media. I don't believe in it. So that's why I had to ask that question. Also, I have another question. Being the library director, you're the supervisor of the day-to-day operations. And how would you deal with a uncooperative employee?
So again, so my style, one of the things that I was also doing at Widener Library was that I was actually training students, workers in the library. So I have some experience, at least in that respect, kind of training. So one of the things, at least in terms of my style, is leadership style is basically to get input from different from my coworkers. So I try to have an environment where my coworkers will feel welcome to come talk to me and to voice any concerns that they have, so that we don't get to the point where people are uncooperative, where they're feel like they're not welcome and that their voices are not being heard. So whatever decisions are being made, I would very much like to hear input from my coworkers and from anybody that's working with me. Again, there are things that I have expertise in that I know a fair amount about, but there are also things that I'm sure that I don't know, and that also that I might be missing. And so I think it would be very good to have multiple voices. And then ultimately the decision for whatever we decide on me, but I would like to have an environment where coworkers feel like they can voice their opinion and give me any ideas that they're having about where we're going with the library. And so I hope that would kind of diffuse any kind of situation before it gets to the point where they're being supported.
Okay. Listen, you said you just moved to Boston
Yes.
and you came from Maine.
Yes.
And in what you were talking about working in all these large schools, did you take a look at the size of our library?
Yes. I understand that you have a very small, or not very small, but a small library. I understand that it's, I think 28,000 about volumes, and then you have two different buildings, but they are fairly small.
We have one small library, very small library, and we have a bigger library, maybe the size of a small ranch house. Okay. And what I'm trying to get at is the staff is only a total of 3 people. You understand that, right?
I do.
Okay. All right. I mean, because listening to you in all the big schools that you worked at, I was hoping that you did some research into the
Yeah.
smaller place.
No, I understand that you have a library and one other librarian.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you another question. If you get the job, are you going to live in Boston and commute every day to Freetown?
That is, so my hope is to move from here.
Right. I'm only saying this because I used to commute to Boston from here every day, and it's a horrendous drive.
No,
So, okay, all right,
I can vouch for that.
okay.
my
So,
hope is to be moving elsewhere. It's just, yes. So I am very much open to relocating. It's basically I had a 1-year contract in Maine, and originally I'm from Boston, so I just came back to kind of the apartment that I had before. But I am looking, if a position opens up, then I am definitely open to relocating.
all right. Anybody have anything else?
No.
You have any questions for us?
I guess just to get a little bit more of a sense of the needs of libraries and kind of the board. What are, I guess, which members of the community most often use the libraries, and I mean, what are the kind of the needs as you see them?
Well, I'm going to speak, but I'm not the only one that should be speaking on who uses the libraries. I think the majority of the people that use the libraries are probably retired people. Lucille, am I right on that?
I don't, I don't work in the library, so I can't say for certain, but I know that the large print collection is very popular, and that tells me that a lot of older people do use the library. And I think a lot of children do as well, especially when there's a story hour or something like that. It's hard because the libraries are so small. What we can do in them is very limited. For example, the Hathaway Library, which is basically only one room, does not have a restroom. There's no bathroom in there. So you can't keep it open for very long hours. And there's no place to have programs or anything like that.
But you can't have it in the other one.
Very difficult.
Yeah.
Is there, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I want to ask if there's, I guess, space for kind of an after school program or anything for, I guess, the school age kids to come in, or is that something we're looking for? Kind of expand?
The after school programs that are offered at through the school system. We're in a regional school system, and there are afternoon programs that are offered through the schools, but not through the libraries.
I see. Mm-hmm.
if I'm making any mistakes here, ladies, let me know, would you? But that's the way I understand the process.
Well, again, we're limited by space. It's very small libraries, and there's a limit to what you can do.
The other thing is that you're not certified, correct?
But I am looking to take classes.
Right. I would assume that if you're selected, Human Resources Department is going to probably require that you pass the certification, the Massachusetts certification, over a given number of years. I think Massachusetts requires it to be done within 5 years, and the town may put a little bit more stringent on it, but I can't talk to that.
Yeah, that's not a problem. I've been, or as I've been kind of thinking about your goals, I've been thinking about at some point entering into an MLS program online anyways. But yes, I would definitely be open to taking classes and being certified.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything else?
No,
Well, we thank you very much and your interest in working for the town of Freetown.
Thank you.
And we'll be making a decision later on today. So you'll know we have had 2 finalists. You were one of them.
Thank you.
So you'll be notified. Thank you very much.
Thank you for taking the time to meet with me.
Thank you.
good luck.
Yep.
Okay, she checked out. So now we got to we have to rate, and then we'll have a discussion on the applicants. Let me
Okay.
get my rating sheet here and I get to work. I just got a phone call.
What?
Dorothy got kicked out of the meeting for some reason. I didn't even notice
He
it.
tried
Thank
to
you.
call me, but I couldn't answer it for some reason.
Yeah,
I tried calling everybody. I called Beverly.
Oh, and I hurry up and shut the phone off.
I
'Cause it
called
was
Irene.
Hit the answer button,
Sorry.
but it didn't answer it.
I dug mine out of my drawer.
Then I went to the
Can
bathroom.
see it now.
Sorry, Dorothy, the phone rang, but I was like, oh, I can't talk on the phone now.
I saw you left. I thought maybe you were bored or something.
No, it just,
What's that?
that clicking noise,
Yeah,
that's my lighter.
that's no good for your health, Dorothy.
I'm all worked up from getting kicked out of the room. I have to have a cigarette to calm me down.
Oh my goodness. Oh my! Should we kick her out again and see if she brings out a cigar?
Oh dear. That's mean.
Thank you, Lucille, my friend.
I didn't kick her out. She just disappeared. All right, let me take this one and do the same thing on this.
There.
Lucille, you gonna miss me?
What?
You gonna miss me?
Absolutely. You bet.
It's bittersweet. It's bittersweet. It really is.
Retiring always is.
Yep.
But you're gonna love it.
Yep. And
Yep.
you know when it's time, and it's time.
Yep.
Okay, Irene, did you do what's your total, Irene?
19.
Lucille,
14.
Beverly.
17.
Wow. Mine was 23.
Wow.
I must be a softie.
You were generous.
I must be a softie. I thought she presented herself very well.
I couldn't understand half of what she said.
Well, part of it that had to do with the internet connection. She must have a slow internet connection. There was times that it was a little bit difficult, but I get the gist of it. Okay. I'm doing a computation here. That way we don't send anything to HR that's incorrect. So let me 2.8, 3. So let me add these up. Okay. So when we summarize the numbers, and this isn't the only thing but this helps us, we should get an idea of what everybody's saying here. Nicole, who was the first applicant, she had 110 points, and it came out to 4.58 on a scale of 5. And Regina had 73 total points, so it came out to 3.04 on a scale of 1 to 5. So that shows how the trustees ranked her. I asked a couple of questions to Regina because I wanted to make sure she fully understood the situation and the working conditions that we have down here in a small town. And I guess she did some research, so she was comfortable with it. So what else? We're going to talk about who we think is the best person for the job, because we have to make a decision.
All of my money is on Nicole.
Me too.
This other person here, didn't even mention experience with public libraries in regards to her using them. I never heard the words public libraries come out of her mouth. Her main experience is as a lecturer, not as a librarian. And any experience that she has was in college and university libraries, and that's a very different environment than the teeny weeny little libraries that we have. I think she would fail miserably in a small environment like ours. There's just no comparison.
And Nicole did mention about the issue that she was aware she would be responsible for budgeting and that, whereas Regina never mentioned the word budget or anything like that wasn't part of the equation, which it's a big part of the equation.
Can I say something? Am I allowed to say something?
Not yet.
Okay.
Go ahead, Irene.
She never gave any indication that she realized that she would be responsible for other people's work, laying
Yeah.
out work and giving them jobs to do.
Yeah, I think that just listening to her, she does not have the experience of working in a library at all, not doing the day-to-day activities that you would need in a library in a small town. So I mean, I agree with you all that with the two final candidates, we have the best candidate is Nicole. She knows the system, and she's had many years of experience
Yep.
working in libraries, not only here but in other towns.
Yes.
So,
And I did want to mention this, that she would not have known. I worked in the State House Library for 2 years. And yes, people can come in off the street to do research there, but it does not include a children's section. It is not a public library. And patrons who do walk in are few and far between. And they're usually looking to do specific research. They're not there to borrow your books.
Right.
So totally different environment.
yes. So listen, before we let Dorothy speak, because I don't want anything she says to influence the trustees who just did the interviews. Is there anybody that wants to make a motion for a selection or not?
I make a motion that we select Nicole Davignon for the position of library director in our town.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, motion made by Lucille, seconded by Irene to select Nicole Davignon for the library director here in Freetown. All in favor?
Okay, Paul.
Aye.
What? Hold on. What?
No,
Go ahead, Beverly.
Are you in agreement with the motion?
No. Let's take the voice vote first, and then you take the.
Okay.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay, Beverly. Now it's your turn.
All right, now it's my turn. I'm so anxious.
I know.
Paul, are you in agreement with the motion?
Yes, I voted yes.
Irene, are you in agreement with the motion?
I am.
Lucille, are you in agreement with the motion?
Yes, I am.
And I am in agreement with the motion.
Okay, so the motion was unanimous.
Yay.
I would also ask that somebody make a motion, and I wrote it down here, to, let me see, if you guys would make a motion to allow me or authorize me to complete the appointment form and sign it and forward it to the town administrator, that based on the vote that we just took. Could somebody make that motion?
I'll make the motion that Paul just put up.
Is there a
Second.
Okay, second. Irene made the motion. Lucille seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Anybody opposed? No. And it's your turn again, Beverly.
Paul, are you in agreement with the motion?
Yes.
Lucille, are you in agreement with the motion?
Yes, I am.
Irene, are you in agreement with the motion?
Yes, I am.
And I am in agreement with the motion.
Okay, so that we're good. Now, out of courtesy to the library director, she wanted to say something because our decision has been made. The voting is over. Go ahead, Dorothy.
Regina seemed like a very intelligent young woman, but I don't think she had a clue of what a library director does. To me, she was answering questions that would be more related to a library technician, just waiting on patrons and checking out books. She didn't mention any of the administrative stuff that goes along with being the director. Like Beverly had mentioned, the budget. She didn't mention any of that stuff.
Yep. Okay,
Paul,
so
can I just ask one question?
sure thing.
With the appointment form, who do you send that to after?
I'm going to send it to town administrator,
Okay,
or I might send it to Ally to the town administrator through Ally, who is the director of human
I'm just gonna put
resources.
that you're gonna forward it to Ally.
Put down. I'm going to forward it to the town administrator.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, and he'll forward it to the board of selectmen or whatever. All right. So listen, that's it.
I have a question.
Don't make it too hard, huh?
No, this is actually a question for Beverly. What paperwork do you need us to send to you?
What do I need, Paul? The tally form?
The two scoring sheets.
Uh-huh.
Complete the front and the back. And if you can scan them or whatever, get them to Beverly, and
Okay, that's all I
she'll
need.
get them done. Yeah, that's it. That's all we have to send in.
Fabulous. Thank you.
All right. With
All
that,
right.
with that said, Dorothy, now you can rest easy, and you can start enjoying your retirement. But you still have a month to work.
Yes, I do. And I want to let you guys know that I'm taking off the second week in June as vacation and the Monday and Tuesday of the following week as vacation because I have over 2 weeks to use up. So
Wait a minute. I think she'll have to wait for authorization by the library trustees in our July meeting. Enjoy your vacation, Dorothy.
thank you. Thank you.
We have a
Anything else?
motion to adjourn.
You must be.
Motion to adjourn.
Supper must be ready somewhere. Okay, motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Irene second. So Lucille and Irene. A motion made to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? We got to take a voice
I'm
vote
in
now.
favor of the motion.
I am too.
Me too. Irene too.
Lucille too.
All right. Thanks, everybody. And let's see. Our next meeting, what's today? Oh, we don't have another meeting until June, right?
June.
Yeah.
Correct.
All right. I'll send something out. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Okay.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Enjoy the
Okay.
weekend. Can you imagine we were able to do this meeting and we didn't have to have face masks on?
Yay!
See you later.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Ah.
Hey, anyway.